Welcome to another instructional video by Everlast Refiner. In this video I will show you how to install an Everlast Refiner bypass oil filtration system on a 2004 Peterbilt dump truck with a Caterpillar C15 engine. This kit comes with everything you'll require to completely install this number 40 Everlast Refiner bypass oil filter system. Included is a number 40 refiner canister, a 12-volt DC heated lid for the thermal dehydrator, a dispersion plate assembly, inlet and outlet hoses, mounting brackets, regulating valve, oil sampling valve, oil pan fitting adapter, installation hardware kit, inline fuse, power and ground wire assemblies, and all the necessary consumables that you will need. Also included is one number 40 filter element. Additional replacement elements can be purchased separately at everlastrefiner.com. First, we're going to install the mounting bracket and the refiner canister. Install the mounting bracket on the passenger side frame rail just behind the cab using the 1/4 by 1.5 inch bolts, lock washers, and nuts provided in the hardware kit. Locate the bracket so that it's evenly spaced between the two through bolts in the frame rail as shown in photo. Using the 1/4 by 1.5 inch bolts, lock washers, and nuts provided, install the oil refiner canister so that the oil refiner lid is just below the top of the frame rail, and orient the 3/4 inch return port on the side of the oil refiner canister so that it faces forward towards the engine. Next, we're going to install the engine oil return hose assembly. Using the thread sealant provided in the kit, attach the non-swivel end of the 3/4 inch oil return hose assembly to the return port on the side of the oil refiner canister. Next, route the engine oil return hose assembly down and forward along the passenger side frame rail to the oil pan. This hose assembly returns oil to the oil pan by gravity, so the hose assembly must go downhill all the way to the oil pan connection. At no point in the routing of this return hose assembly should it go dramatically uphill. Next, remove the plug from the forward accessory port on the passenger side of the oil pan and drain the engine oil. Using the thread sealant compound provided, install the oil pan adapter fitting and 3/4 inch 90-degree street elbow. Connect the swivel end of the return hose assembly to the oil pan. Secure the routing of the return hose assembly as required with the provided tie wraps. Replace the engine oil and check the leaks. Next, we're going to install the engine oil supply line. First, using the thread sealant compound provided, install the valve assembly onto the bottom inlet port of the oil refiner canister. There are two valves attached to this inlet port. The one on the side with the 90-degree elbow and plug attached to it is for taking oil samples. The bottom valve is for regulating the flow rate of the incoming oil. Next, using the thread sealant compound provided, install the non-swivel end of the 1/4 inch engine oil supply line assembly to the bottom valve of the oil refiner canister. Route the engine oil supply line forward, across the back of the engine, and then forward again to the engine oil pressure sensor, which is located on the driver's side of the engine. Disconnect the hydraulic hose attached to the oil pressure sensor and install the oil pressure switch adapter provided. These are all JIC connections and do not require thread sealant. Next, orient the side port on the JIC T adapter just installed downward, and attach the swivel end of the engine oil supply line assembly to the oil pressure switch adapter just installed as shown. Next, secure both the engine oil supply line and engine oil return lines with the tie wraps provided. Next, we're going to establish the electrical connections to the heated lid assembly of the thermal dehydrator, which is located on the top of the Everlast Refiner canister. First, on the driver's side of the firewall, remove one of the airline plugs as shown and route the red power wire assembly through the firewall from the cab into the engine compartment. Now route this wire down and back along the driver's side frame rail following the engine oil delivery line just installed. You'll also route it back across the engine to the heated lid assembly. Attach this end of the red power wire assembly to one of the posts on the heated lid assembly. It does not matter which. This heating element is not polarity sensitive and just requires a power and a ground. Now next you're going to install the ground wire assembly to the remaining post on the heated lid and attach the other end to one of the bracket bolts. Back at the firewall, on the inside of the firewall, you'll see a power distribution panel on the driver's side. Attach the inline fuse provided with the blue butt connector also provided, and attach the end of the red power wire assembly inline fuse to the upper right hand fuse slot. It's occupied by a 25 amp fuse. Now go back to the plug that was removed from the firewall that you routed the red power wire assembly through and fill this hole with the silicone provided to eliminate any chafing. Secure this wire routing with the tie wraps provided in the installation kit. Now it's time to operationally check the system and set the flow rate. First, remove the heated lid using a rag or a glove. This lid has a heating element in it and gets reasonably hot. Not hot enough to burn you, but you wouldn't want to hold on to it for very long. Start the engine and watch for oil flow across the dispersion plate. This will take several minutes, so be patient. Opening the regulator valve on the bottom of the oil refiner canister fully and running the engine at high idle will help speed this process up. Now once the oil is flowing, adjust the regulator valve so that a slow, even flow of oil covers the step dispersion plate at idle. Once this is established, run the engine at high idle to ensure that the can will not overflow. If you notice the canister filling up, readjust the regulator valve on the bottom of the oil refiner canister to slow the flow rate. For this application, 1/2 turn open of the flow regulator valve is the normal setting. Return the engine to idle. Reinstall the heated lid using a rag or a glove. Install the washer and wing nut provided, and hand tight is fine. And that's it. The Everlast Refiner bypass oil filtration system is installed and the flow rate is established. Maintenance. Now we're going to discuss how to maintain the Everlast Refiner bypass oil filtration system. First, you have to check your oil level and dispersion plate flow rate regularly. Take oil samples every 20,000 miles. Replace the filter element as required whenever you notice a significant reduction in the oil flow rate across the dispersion plate, or you get an oil sample report that indicates that it's time for a replacement, or finally, foregoing all of that, replace your filter every year. Oil analysis. To address any questions you may have about your oil sample results, please go to the link shown here, or for direct assistance, please contact our technical support at the link provided. Now, how does it work? Well, if you have any questions about how the Everlast Refiner bypass oil filtration system actually works to preserve the condition and quality of your motor oil, please go to the link provided. There's a thorough description here and a short video which explains in detail how the oil refining process works. Finally, for any technical support questions, please contact the link shown here. I hope you enjoyed this video, and please keep coming back to view additional videos from Everlast Refiner. Thank you.